Data governance sounds like something only a spreadsheet nerd would care about, but if you run midterm rentals, it is the thing standing between you and a very awkward tax season. Picture 40 different bookings across 3 platforms, and none of them agreeing on how much money actually landed in your account. Here's the wild part: midterm rentals live in this weird gray zone between short-term stays and full-on leases, so the data gets messy fast. A guest who books for 45 days might get taxed differently, reported differently, and tracked differently than someone who books for 5 nights. So what even is a data governance policy? Think of it like the referee at a chaotic soccer match, except instead of blowing a whistle, it makes sure every number, every date, and every dollar amount is telling the same story across your entire operation. When you only have 1 or 2 properties, you can basically keep track of things in your head or in a slightly embarrassing notes app. But the second you scale to 10, 20, or 50 units, human memory becomes about as reliable as a weather forecast from a groundhog. This is where standardized data entry comes in, and no, it is not as boring as it sounds. It just means every property manager on your team enters dates, guest names, and payment amounts the exact same way, so your reports do not turn into a game of telephone. Let us talk about the granddaddy of governance problems: duplicate records. If 2 different platforms both report the same booking without a shared identifier, congratulations, you just told your accountant you made twice as much money as you actually did. A unique booking identification system fixes this, kind of like a fingerprint for every single reservation. Every stay gets one unmistakable code. So when data comes in from Airbnb, Furnished Finder, or your own website, it all funnels into one clean master record instead of 3 confusing ones. Now here's a fun historical tidbit. Back in the early 2000s, hotel chains had this exact same nightmare before centralized property management systems existed. Front desks were literally calling each other to check room availability, which is basically the data equivalent of using smoke signals. Access control is another piece people forget, because not everyone on your team needs to touch every number. Your cleaning coordinator does not need access to tax documents, and your bookkeeper probably does not need to see guest phone numbers, so permission levels keep both privacy and sanity intact. There's also this idea called a single source of truth, which sounds like something a fortune teller would say, but it just means one system is the final word on your data. If your spreadsheet says one thing and your booking platform says another, you need a rule for which one wins, otherwise you are just arguing with your own numbers like a confused parent. Auditing might sound like the villain origin story of accounting, but regular audits are actually your best friend here. A quick monthly check catches small errors before they snowball into a full-blown identity crisis for your financial reports. Automation helps a ton too, because humans get tired, distracted, and occasionally just enter 14 when they meant 40. Automated syncing between your booking platforms and your reporting software removes a huge chunk of that very human error. Doubt creeps in for a lot of operators here, because more systems can feel like more chances for things to break. But honestly, the opposite tends to be true. More structure usually means fewer surprises. Kind of like how buckling a seatbelt feels restrictive until the car actually stops short. The real magic trick is treating your data governance policy like a living document instead of a stone tablet. As you add new platforms, new markets, or new team members, your rules need to grow with you, or you will outgrow your own systems like a kid in last year's shoes. At the end of the day, accurate reporting is not about being a perfectionist, it is about making decisions you can actually trust. So if you want to learn more about how we help hosts get this exact kind of clarity for their midterm rentals, check out our links in the description.